Welcome to the Academy of Sleep, your place for peaceful, calming lectures designed to help you drift off to sleep. If you enjoy relaxing stories and soothing knowledge before bedtime, please subscribe. Now, make yourself comfortable and enjoy the lecture. Lost Knowledge, Vanished Books, and Forgotten Secrets of the Past. Introduction. Please close your eyes. Find a comfortable position. Allow your body to relax. Let the worries of the day gently fade away. Tonight, in this quiet and peaceful space, we are about to embark on a remarkable journey. A journey into the world of lost knowledge, a world where the pages of history turn in whispers and secrets sleep in the shadows of centuries. We will talk about vanished books and forgotten manuscripts, about knowledge that was once known but now is lost to us. You see, life is like an ocean. We only see its calm, beautiful surface, but beneath it lies a vast, unexplored depth. The same is true for human knowledge. We possess only a small fragment of all that humanity once knew. The rest is like a great iceberg hidden beneath the waters of time, and much of that iceberg will forever remain unseen. From the very beginning of writing, from the first clay tablets, papyrus scrolls, and parchment pages, people have tried to preserve their thoughts, discoveries, and stories. The written word had immense power. It could elevate a person, preserve memories of great events, and pass wisdom onto future generations. A book was a treasure, a vessel of wisdom, a source of inspiration. But what happens when that treasure disappears? When the pages fade, the ink vanishes, and the knowledge becomes unreachable. Throughout human history, countless books have been lost. Fires, wars, religious conflicts, natural disasters, political repression. Sometimes it was pure accident, a tragic coincidence. Other times it was deliberate, an attempt to erase, to silence, to forget. Imagine great libraries, vast collections of knowledge that existed centuries ago. Imagine scholars studying ancient manuscripts, philosophers debating great ideas. And now imagine that those libraries were destroyed, reduced to ashes, and the knowledge lost forever. Tonight, we will follow the trail of this lost knowledge. We will try to understand what has been forgotten, why it happened, and what mysteries history still hides. Prepare yourself for a fascinating journey, a journey that will help you relax and gently fall asleep. Chapter 1: The Libraries of Antiquity, Cradles of Knowledge, and Their Tragic Fate. Part 1: The Library of Alexandria, the legend of its destruction. Let us begin our journey with perhaps the most famous library of the ancient world, the Library of Alexandria. Its name is still surrounded by an aura of mystery and wonder. Imagine a place where all the knowledge of the world was gathered, a place where rivers of wisdom flowed freely, a place where the greatest minds of their time worked and shared ideas. Alexandria, a city in Egypt, was founded by Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE. It quickly became one of the largest cultural centers of the ancient world. It was here, under the rule of the Ptolemaic dynasty, that an ambitious idea was born to create a library that would contain all the knowledge available to humanity. This was not just a library, it was a whole scientific institution, the Mosaion, which in Greek means Temple of the Muses. Imagine the scale of this endeavor. The Ptolemies sent their agents across the known world. They bought books, commissioned copies from scribes, and even confiscated manuscripts from ships arriving in Alexandria. It is said that any ship bringing new scrolls had to surrender them to the library to be copied. The originals were returned to their owners, but the copies remained in the library. Thanks to this policy, the library's collection grew rapidly and soon became the largest and most significant repository of knowledge in the ancient world. Some of the greatest scholars and thinkers of the time worked in this library. Here worked Eratosthenes, who was the first to calculate the circumference of the earth with remarkable accuracy. Here worked Aristarchus of Samos, who anticipated the heliocentric model of the universe, the idea that the earth revolves around the sun. Here, Hipparchus, one of the founders of astronomy, collected data on the stars and created star catalogs. The library was a center of mathematics, medicine, philosophy, philology. The Library of Alexandria was a beacon of science and culture for many centuries. But sadly, the glory of the library is forever tied to its tragic fate. The exact date and circumstances of its destruction remain the subject of debate and speculation. There are several versions of what happened, and none of them is definitive. One of the most common versions links the destruction of the library to a fire caused by military conflict. In 48 BCE, during the civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey, a great fire broke out in Alexandria. According to legend, the flames engulfed the ships in the harbor and spread to the warehouses where the library's scrolls were stored. Another version suggests that the fire occurred later, during the wars between the Romans and the Egyptians. Another version connects the library's demise to religious conflicts. During the rise of Christianity in Alexandria, there were violent clashes between pagans and Christians. In 391 CE, by the order of Emperor Theodosius I, the Temple of Serapis was destroyed, a temple that also housed part of the library's collection. It is believed that Christians destroyed a significant number of manuscripts that contradicted their teachings. Some historians believe that the library did not perish in a single catastrophic event, but rather fell into decline over several centuries. They suggest that the scrolls deteriorated over time, copies stopped being made, and the building itself fell into neglect. Whichever version is true, one fact remains. The Library of Alexandria disappeared. We will never know exactly what was stored within its walls. We can only wonder, imagine how much was lost. We can only guess what discoveries were made in Alexandria, what philosophical treatises were written, what scientific knowledge was accumulated. Perhaps works by Homer, Euripides, Sophocles, lost writings of Aristotle and Plato, unpublished works of Euclid and Archimedes were kept there. Picture the splendor of this library. Halls filled with hundreds of thousands of hand-copied scrolls, scholars hunched over their tables, working by the light of oil lamps, scribes carefully writing letters on papyrus, an atmosphere of intellectual pursuit, a thirst for knowledge, all of it lost forever. The Library of Alexandria stands as a symbol of lost knowledge, a reminder of the fragility of human culture and how easily we can lose what has taken centuries to build. It is the story of a paradise of knowledge lost to time, a tragedy that makes us reflect on the value of what we have and the importance of preserving knowledge for future generations. Part 2. Other Ancient Libraries. An overview. But the Library of Alexandria was not the only treasure trove of knowledge in the ancient world. There were other libraries, perhaps not as grand in scale, but no less important in the history of humanity. Let us take a brief journey through time and space to look at some of them. We begin with the Library of Pergamon, located in the ancient city of Pergamon in Asia Minor. Pergamon was the capital of the Pergamene kingdom, which flourished during the Hellenistic period. The rulers of Pergamon, the Attalid dynasty, were great admirers of culture and science. They created a library that rivaled Alexandria in both size and significance. The Library of Pergamon, like the one in Alexandria, gathered books from all over the world, but it also made its own contribution to the development of writing and books. In Pergamon, parchment was invented, a writing material made from treated animal skins. Parchment proved to be more durable and long-lasting than papyrus, and it played a crucial role in the spread of knowledge. It is believed that the Library of Pergamon contained around 200,000 scrolls. Unfortunately, it too met a tragic fate. According to legend, the library was destroyed as a result of military conflict or fire. Another version suggests that part of its collection was given by Mark Antony to Cleopatra and transported to Alexandria. Now let us travel to Mesopotamia, to ancient Assyria. There, in the city of Nineveh, stood the Library of Ashurbanipal. It was one of the first systematically organized libraries in the world. Ashurbanipal, who ruled in the 7th century BCE, was a learned man who paid great attention to the collection and preservation of knowledge. The Library of Ashurbanipal contained thousands of clay tablets inscribed with various texts, myths, legends, religious hymns, historical chronicles, scientific treatises, and legal documents. These tablets were written in cuneiform, an ancient writing system based on wedge-shaped signs. The Library of Ashurbanipal was discovered in the 19th century during archaeological excavations. The find was a true treasure for scholars. Thanks to these tablets, we have learned much about the life, culture, and history of ancient Mesopotamia. However, many of the tablets were damaged or lost over time. Another important library of antiquity was located in Athens, Greece. Athens, the center of democracy and philosophy, was home to several libraries. The most famous was the Library of Pisistratos, the tyrant of Athens. Pisistratos collected the works of Homer and other Greek poets. In Athens, a culture of reading and learning flourished. Libraries were places where people could gain knowledge, communicate, and exchange ideas. Unfortunately, the libraries of Athens have not survived to this day. They were destroyed or lost as a result of wars, fires, and other historical events. What unites these libraries? First, their role as centers of knowledge and culture. They gathered books, attracted scholars, and contributed to the development of science and education. Second, their tragic fate. Most of them were destroyed or ruined, and the knowledge they contained was lost. What were the reasons behind the disappearance of these libraries? As we have already mentioned, wars, fires, natural disasters, and religious conflicts all played a part. But perhaps the main reason was the fragility of human culture. Knowledge is a delicate thread, easily broken. Imagine what we could have learned if these libraries had survived. We might have read new works by ancient authors, discovered forgotten scientific achievements, understood some more about the lives and cultures of ancient civilizations. We could have delved deeper into the story of humanity. But sadly, that is no longer possible. We can only mourn what has been lost, dream of what might have been, and do everything we can to preserve what remains. These ancient libraries are a reminder of the value of knowledge and the need to protect it. They teach us to cherish what we have and to strive for new discoveries, passing wisdom on to future generations. Chapter 2: The Secrets of Alchemy and Forbidden Knowledge. Part 1: Alchemy. The Search for the Philosopher's Stone and the Elixir of Life. Now, let us travel into a world shrouded in mystery and mysticism, the world of alchemy. Alchemy was not merely a science, it was an art, a philosophy, and a spiritual teaching. Alchemists believed that matter could undergo transformation, that base metals could be turned into gold, and that illnesses could be cured. At the heart of alchemy was the quest for the philosopher's stone, a legendary substance said to have the power to transform ordinary metals into gold and grant immortality. Alongside the philosopher's stone, alchemists sought to create the elixir of life, a miraculous potion believed to prolong life and cure all diseases. Alchemists developed a complex system of symbols and allegories to conceal their knowledge from the uninitiated. Their writings were filled with riddles, metaphors, and encrypted recipes. They used intricate language to hide their secrets from those who lacked the necessary wisdom and experience. The symbols of alchemy were multi-layered and open to various interpretations. For example, the image of a serpent devouring its own tail, the Ouroboros, symbolized the cycle of life and death, as well as the process of transformation. The sun and the moon represented the masculine and feminine principles, as well as the natural processes of the world. Various metals, such as lead, mercury, silver, and gold, also held symbolic meanings. Many prominent scholars and thinkers were connected to alchemy. Among them were Paracelsus, a Swiss physician and alchemist who made significant contributions to the development of medicine; Nicolas Flamel, a French scribe and alchemist who, according to legend, discovered the philosopher's stone; and even Isaac Newton, the great physicist and mathematician who spent much of his life studying alchemy in secret. Why did alchemists hide their knowledge? There were several reasons. First, they feared persecution by the authorities and the church. Alchemy was often considered heresy, and alchemists were accused of witchcraft and sorcery. Second, alchemists wanted to protect their knowledge from dishonest people who might use it for personal gain or harm. And third, they believed that alchemical wisdom should only be passed on to worthy students, those who were ready for spiritual growth. Many alchemical texts were lost or destroyed over time. Some were burned by the Inquisition, others were hidden away and forgotten. Only fragments of this knowledge have survived: scattered recipes, cryptic drawings, and mysterious symbols. Imagine an alchemical laboratory, a dark room lit dimly by the glow of oil lamps. On the tables, flasks, retorts, and distillation vessels. All around, books filled with strange symbols, an alchemist in a long robe, leaning over a crucible where a mysterious process is taking place, the air heavy with the scent of sulfur, mercury, and other substances. Alchemy is a world full of enigmas and secrets. We may never know exactly what was hidden within the pages of alchemical texts. But alchemy was not only about the search for gold. It was a quest for knowledge, an attempt to understand the laws of nature and the human soul. It was a path toward self-improvement and spiritual growth. Part 2: Forbidden Books and Censorship. Now let us turn to another side of lost knowledge: forbidden books and censorship. Censorship is the control of information, the restriction of freedom of speech and expression. For many centuries, censorship was used to suppress dissent, protect authority, and maintain certain ideologies. The history of censorship spans thousands of years. Even in ancient times, rulers sought to control the spread of information to strengthen their power and prevent uprisings. In the Middle Ages, censorship was primarily the domain of the church. Clergy controlled the circulation of books, deciding which texts aligned with religious dogma and which did not. Religious prohibitions were one of the main instruments of censorship. The church compiled lists of forbidden books known as the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, the index of prohibited books. This list included works deemed heretical, contrary to religious teachings, or morally corrupting. Many well-known authors' works appeared on the list of forbidden books. For example, the Decameron by Giovanni Boccaccio, a collection of novellas that satirized the morals of medieval society, was banned for its frivolity and secular content. The works of Voltaire, the French philosopher and writer who criticized the church and absolute monarchy, were forbidden for their anti-religious and anti-government ideas. Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, the ideological manifesto of Nazism, was banned after World War II for promoting hatred and genocide. Political censorship also played a significant role throughout history. Rulers sought to control the flow of information to prevent criticism of their power, suppress revolutionary ideas, and secure their position. Books that posed a threat to authority were destroyed, and their authors and readers faced persecution. The fate of the authors and readers of forbidden books was often tragic. Many writers were imprisoned, exiled, or executed. Readers were hunted, their books confiscated and burned. People risked their lives to read and distribute forbidden books because they believed in the freedom of speech and the power of knowledge. What were the consequences of censorship for the development of society and science? Censorship stifled creativity, limited freedom of thought, and hindered the spread of new ideas. It slowed the progress of science, philosophy, and culture. Many discoveries and achievements were delayed or lost because of censorship. And yet, censorship was never able to completely destroy knowledge. Despite the efforts of authorities and the church, forbidden books continued to circulate, passed from hand to hand, hidden in secret places. People found ways to circumvent censorship, using allegory and metaphor to convey their thoughts and ideas. Forbidden books are a symbol of the struggle for freedom of speech and freedom of thought. They are a reminder that knowledge is power, and censorship is an attempt to deprive people of that power. It is the story of those who fought for their beliefs, risking their lives for the right to think and speak freely. Think about the books that were banned in the past. What was it about them that frightened those in power? Think about the people who read those books, who risked their freedom to learn new ideas. Forbidden books are part of our history. They teach us to value the freedom to speak, to think, and to protect knowledge. Chapter 3: Lost Civilizations and Their Writing. Part 1: Libraries and Archives of Vanished Civilizations. Let us travel even further back in time, to the vanished civilizations. Civilizations that left behind grand ruins, mysterious artifacts, and most importantly, writing systems that hold traces of their lives, their culture, and their knowledge. We will speak about the libraries and archives that may have existed in these ancient societies. libraries that might have contained answers to questions that still intrigue scholars and researchers today. Let us recall some of these civilizations. The Sumerians, the earliest known civilization of Mesopotamia, who created the world's first known writing system, cuneiform. The Maya, a civilization of Central America, renowned for their advanced mathematical and astronomical knowledge, as well as their intricate system of hieroglyphic writing. Ancient Egypt, a civilization that left behind monumental architecture, hieroglyphic writing, and a rich literary heritage. Each of these civilizations had its own unique writing system. The Sumerians wrote on clay tablets using wedge-shaped cuneiform signs. The Maya used hieroglyphs, carved on temple walls, painted in codices, and inscribed on ceramics. The Egyptians also used hieroglyphs, which they carved into stone, wrote on papyrus, and painted on the walls of tombs. It is likely that these civilizations had libraries and archives, places where knowledge and documents were preserved. These may have been located in temples, palaces, or administrative buildings. Most likely they contained religious texts, historical chronicles, legal documents, scientific treatises, and literary works. Sadly, these civilizations disappeared. The reasons for their decline were varied: wars, invasions, natural disasters, climate change, economic crises, social unrest. And with the fall of these civilizations, their knowledge vanished as well. Many libraries and archives were destroyed or lost. What did we lose? We lost priceless knowledge about the lives, cultures, and histories of these civilizations. We could have learned more about their beliefs, customs, scientific achievements, and art. Perhaps we would have found answers to questions that remain mysteries even today. Imagine life in these vanished civilizations. Sumerian scribes pressing cuneiform signs into wet clay tablets, Maya priests reading codices written in hieroglyphs, Egyptian scribes working on papyrus scrolls in the shadow of the pyramids. We can only dream of what was kept in those libraries and archives. We can only speculate about the knowledge that was lost forever. And yet, even what remains allows us to learn much about these civilizations. Archaeological excavations, the deciphering of writing systems, and the study of artifacts all help us piece together the story of the past. These vanished civilizations are a reminder of the fragility of human culture and the importance of preserving knowledge. They teach us to appreciate what we have and to continue seeking to understand the past. Part 2: Deciphering Lost Languages and Writing Systems. But not everything has been lost. Even when libraries disappeared and texts were damaged or forgotten, people never stopped trying to understand what had once been written. This effort is known as decipherment, the process of unlocking lost languages and writing systems. It is one of the most fascinating and challenging tasks in human history. Imagine that you discover an ancient text written in unfamiliar symbols. You do not know the language, nor the meaning of the signs. How could you possibly decipher it? This is the challenge that many scholars have faced over the centuries. The history of decipherment is a story of persistence, intelligence, and sometimes luck. One of the most famous examples is the decipherment of Egyptian hieroglyphs. For a long time, no one could understand what these mysterious signs meant, signs that covered the walls of temples and tombs. The key to deciphering them was the Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799. On this stone, the same text was written in 3 languages: Ancient Greek, Demotic, a later form of Egyptian, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. This allowed scholars to compare the Greek text with the hieroglyphs and begin to unlock their meaning. The hero of this story was the French scholar Jean-François Champollion. He spent years studying the Rosetta Stone and other Egyptian texts. He compared symbols, analyzed the structure of the language, and searched for patterns. Eventually, he succeeded in deciphering the hieroglyphs and revealed that they were not merely pictures, but a complete writing system. But Egyptian hieroglyphs are only one example. There are other mysterious scripts that scholars are still trying to decipher today. Linear A and Linear B. Linear B was deciphered in the mid 20th century and turned out to be an early form of the Greek language. Linear A, however, remains undeciphered to this day, the Maya codices. The Maya codices are manuscripts written in hieroglyphic script. Deciphering these codices is a complex and ongoing process that continues to this day. The task of deciphering lost languages and writing systems is a difficult one. Scholars face many obstacles: an unknown language. When the language is unknown, there are no dictionaries or grammar books to use for translation. Fragmentary texts. Often, the surviving texts are damaged or incomplete. Complex symbols. Ancient writing systems frequently used intricate and multi-layered symbols. Despite all these challenges, decipherment is of enormous importance. It allows us to uncover the history and culture of ancient civilizations. We can learn about the lives, beliefs, customs, and achievements of these societies, understand the development of languages and writing systems. We can trace how languages and scripts evolved over time, gain new knowledge about humanity's past. We can expand our understanding of history and culture and learn how we arrived at the present. Decipherment is not just an academic pursuit, it is a journey into the past, a chance to meet people who lived thousands of years ago and hear their voices. What discoveries await us in the future? Perhaps new languages and writing systems will be deciphered, revealing the existence of unknown civilizations. Perhaps new texts will be found, shedding light on the dark corners of human history. Decipherment is a beacon of hope, a reminder that human intelligence is capable of overcoming any challenge to reveal the secrets of the past. Chapter 4, Chance and Intention, the Role of Accident in the Loss of Knowledge. Part 1. Fires and Disasters, Accidental Losses. We have already looked at many reasons why knowledge was lost: wars, censorship, religious persecution. But there is another, no less important reason: chance. Random events that led to the destruction of libraries, archives, and individual books. Here we will talk about fires, floods, earthquakes, and other disasters that wiped priceless treasures from the face of the earth. Fires were among the most common causes of the loss of knowledge. Flames destroyed library buildings, devoured books and manuscripts, and turned centuries of accumulated wisdom into ash, the Great Fire of Alexandria. We have already mentioned this tragic fire, which likely consumed much of the Library of Alexandria. The fire at the U.S. Congress. In 1814, during the war with Great Britain, British troops set fire to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., where the Library of Congress was housed. The loss was enormous, though the library was later restored. Fires in other libraries. History is filled with numerous fires that destroyed libraries across the world. Fires did not only consume books, they destroyed entire buildings, took lives, and erased works of art and architecture. The consequences of fires were catastrophic, but fires were not the only threat. Other disasters also led to the loss of knowledge. Floods and earthquakes, natural disasters that could destroy libraries, archives, and individual books. Buildings could collapse, books could be submerged or buried beneath the earth. Floods in Venice. Venice, a city built on water, has always been vulnerable to floods. Its libraries and archives have suffered from flooding for centuries. Earthquakes in Japan. Japan, a land prone to earthquakes, has seen many such disasters destroy libraries and archives, wiping out books and manuscripts. Wars and military actions also contributed to the loss of knowledge. In times of war, cities were destroyed, libraries burned, books deliberately eradicated. War is always a tragedy, bringing destruction and loss. We should also not forget negligence. Sometimes, knowledge was lost due to careless handling of books and manuscripts, improper storage, or lack of maintenance. Chance has played a tremendous role in the history of lost knowledge. Accidental fires, floods, earthquakes, wars, negligence, all of these led to the destruction of books and manuscripts. Chance decided which knowledge would survive and which would be lost forever. Imagine the devastating forces of nature: fire, water, earthquakes. Imagine the destructive forces of war: bombings, the leveling of cities, the burning of libraries. Chance is a tragic and unpredictable force. It can destroy everything we have created. It can erase knowledge accumulated over centuries. It is a reminder of the fragility of human culture and of the importance of protecting knowledge. Part 2. The destruction of books as an act of vandalism and ideological struggle. We now come to a darker side of lost knowledge: the deliberate destruction of books. Not accidental fires or natural disasters, but conscious actions aimed at erasing unwanted information, silencing dissent, and fighting against opposing ideas. Here we will speak of acts of vandalism, ideological warfare, and censorship that led to the disappearance of priceless manuscripts. The destruction of books is an act of vandalism directed against culture and reason. It is an attempt to erase the memory of the past, reshape the present, and control the future. One of the most striking examples of book destruction is the burning of books. The fires of the Inquisition, where heretical books were consumed by flames, were a terrifying spectacle. On these pyres burned books that did not conform to religious dogma, books that questioned the authority of the church. Imagine a public square filled with people. In the center, a bonfire blazes, its flames reaching toward the sky. Priests throw books into the fire, cursing their authors and their contents. The crowd cheers, rejoicing at the destruction of heresy. Another infamous example of book burning took place in Nazi Germany. In 1933, the Nazis organized mass book burnings. On those pyres burned books declared un-German, books by Jewish, communist, and liberal authors. Picture students in uniform throwing books into the flames. The crowd chants slogans, glorifying the Nazi regime. In the fire perished the works of great writers, philosophers, and scientists. The destruction of books is not just an act of vandalism. It is a method of controlling information, suppressing dissent, and shaping public opinion. Whoever controls information controls society. Political and religious censorship were the tools used to destroy books and silence opposition. Rulers and religious leaders sought to control the spread of information to strengthen their power and defend their beliefs. Censorship is the restriction of freedom of speech and expression. It deprives people of the ability to access information, think independently, and form their own views. As a result of book destruction, works of art and literature that could have enriched our culture and expanded our knowledge were lost. We lost great works that will never be restored. Each destroyed book is a loss for all humanity, a loss of knowledge, wisdom, and beauty. What were the consequences of book destruction for culture and society? It stifled creativity, limited freedom of thought, and hindered the development of science, philosophy, and culture. It led to ignorance, fanaticism, and violence. And yet, even the destruction of books could not completely erase knowledge. Despite the efforts of authorities and the church, books continued to live on in the memory of people, passed from hand to hand, hidden in secret places. The destruction of books is a tragic chapter in human history. It is a reminder of the fragility of culture and the need to protect freedom of speech and freedom of thought. It is a lesson in the importance of preserving knowledge and passing it on to future generations. Chapter 5: Lost Languages, Linguistic Mysteries, and Their Impact on Culture. We have already spoken about books written in different languages, about the challenges of deciphering lost scripts. Now let us dive even deeper into the mysterious world of lost languages, languages that have vanished from the earth, leaving behind only faint traces, fragments of inscriptions, or in some cases, complete silence. A language is not just a means of communication, it is a reflection of culture, history, and a people's worldview. Language shapes how we think and how we see the world. When a language disappears, a part of culture disappears with it, a part of history, a part of human experience. Imagine finding an inscription in an unfamiliar language. You don't know the language, the alphabet, or the meaning of the words. How can you understand what it says? This is the linguistic puzzle that scholars and linguists have tried to solve for years. There are many lost languages about which we know very little. Here are just a few examples. Etruscan, the language spoken by the Etruscans, an ancient people who lived in Italy before the rise of Rome. We know some words and phrases in Etruscan, but its structure and origins remain a mystery. The Minoan language, Linear A. We've mentioned this language before. It was spoken on the island of Crete during the time of the Minoan civilization. It remains undeciphered to this day. Hattic, the language of the Hattians, an ancient people who lived in central Anatolia. Very little is known about Hattic, and it is considered an isolated language. The Proto-Indus language, the language spoken by the people of the Indus Valley civilization. Their script has never been deciphered. These languages left behind riddles. What did they mean? What was their structure? How were they connected to other languages? Linguists continue to search for answers using a variety of methods. How do linguists try to reconstruct lost languages? Comparative analysis. This method compares words and grammatical structures of different languages. If two languages share common features, it is possible they came from a common ancestor. Reconstruction. Reconstruction is the process of attempting to recreate the words, grammar, and pronunciation of a lost language using comparative analysis and other linguistic methods. Study of inscriptions and artifacts. Studying inscriptions and artifacts can offer clues about the meanings of words and the structure of a language. Imagine standing in front of an inscription in a lost language. You see strange symbols that seem to carry meaning, but you cannot understand them. You try to decipher them using all your knowledge and intuition. It is a difficult but fascinating task. How does language influence culture? Language shapes us how we think and how we view the world. It reflects a people's history, values, and beliefs. For example, different ways of expressing time. Some languages do not express time the way we do. Speakers of those languages may perceive time differently. Unique vocabulary. A language's vocabulary often reflects the environment and culture of its speakers. For example, the languages of people who live in snowy regions may have many words to describe different types of snow. When a language disappears, a part of culture, history, and human experience disappears with it. It is a sad loss. But the study of lost languages helps us better understand human history, broaden our worldview, and appreciate cultural diversity. Each lost language is a missing chapter in the story of humanity. It reminds us of the importance of cultural diversity and the need to preserve languages while they are still alive. Lost languages are mysteries waiting to be solved. They are a story of how people once spoke, how they thought, how they saw the world. They remind us how much can be lost when a language disappears. Chapter 6: The Role of Scribes and Keepers of Knowledge. We have spoken of linguistic mysteries, of secret knowledge lost to the flames and crushed under the weight of censorship. But now, let us step into a quieter world, a world of focus and silence, where knowledge was passed from hand to hand, where every word was a treasure and every sheet of parchment a priceless legacy. Let us talk about the scribes, the people who, through their painstaking work, preserved this knowledge for us. Imagine a time when there were no printing presses, when every book was created by hand. Imagine people who dedicated their lives to copying books, preserving knowledge, and passing it down through generations. These were the scribes, monks, scholars, and writers. Their labor was truly monumental. The work of a scribe required incredible patience, diligence, and concentration. He would sit at a table lit by the dim glow of candles or oil lamps for hours, days, months, repeating the same movements over and over. Before him lay a sheet of parchment or papyrus on which he carefully traced each letter, word by word, line by line. The scribe used a quill pen, dipping it into ink made from soot, gall nuts, and other ingredients. He checked every letter, ensuring its shape and size were correct. He needed to have a steady hand, a sharp eye, and flawless memory. The work of a scribe was not only exhausting, but also dangerous to one's health. Long hours sitting in an uncomfortable position under poor lighting led to vision problems, back pain, and other illnesses. Scribes also often faced shortages of materials, parchment, ink, or pens. Imagine a scribe in winter, sitting in an unheated room, his fingers freezing, the ink thickening from the cold. He endured the discomfort to preserve knowledge. Monasteries, temples, and other places where scribes worked became centers of knowledge, libraries. These libraries were not merely storage rooms for books. They were places where people could learn, read, communicate, and exchange ideas. Picture a library in a medieval monastery, a large, quiet room filled with shelves of books, monks walking between the shelves, carefully touching the books. The air filled with the scent of parchment, ink, and wax. It was not only monasteries and churches that became keepers of knowledge. Scholars, universities, academies, and other communities also played a vital role in preserving and passing on knowledge. Scholars studied ancient texts, made discoveries, and wrote new books. Universities educated students, preparing new scholars and scribes. Universities, which emerged in the Middle Ages, became centers of education and science. They taught philosophy, theology, medicine, law, and other disciplines. Academies, founded during the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, became centers of scientific research and cultural exchange. Scholars, artists, and writers gathered in academies to discuss new ideas and share knowledge. These people and communities, despite all difficulties and dangers, preserved knowledge for future generations. They understood the value of education, the power of knowledge, and dedicated their lives to its preservation and dissemination. Scribes, monks, scholars, librarians, all of them were heroes working in difficult times. They fought against ignorance, barbarism, and oblivion. They preserved the knowledge that we have today. Think of how much effort was spent to preserve even a small part of the knowledge we now possess. Think of how many people devoted their lives to this noble cause. We must be grateful to the scribes and keepers of knowledge. We must remember their selfless labor and strive to continue their mission, to preserve and share knowledge. Their work is an example for us all, a reminder that knowledge is the most valuable thing we have. Chapter 7: Myths and Legends of Lost Knowledge. We have traveled through real events, but now let us step into the world of myths and legends. A world where truth intertwines with fiction, where lost knowledge becomes an object of wonder, fear, and endless search. Myths and legends about lost knowledge reflect our eternal thirst for understanding and our fear of the unknown. These are stories about the quest for secrets that, according to legend, were once known to the ancients but are now hidden from us. The most famous of these legends is perhaps the story of Atlantis. This tale, told by Plato, speaks of a mighty island that sank beneath the ocean. The Atlanteans, according to the legend, possessed incredible knowledge and technology, but they were destroyed because of their pride and immorality. Imagine Atlantis, a highly developed civilization with advanced technologies, magnificent cities, and splendid temples. The Atlanteans were said to know the secrets of energy, the construction of giant structures, and perhaps even the secret of immortality. But their arrogance led to disaster. Earthquakes and tsunamis swallowed the island, burying its knowledge in the depths of the ocean. The legend of Atlantis continues to captivate the minds of researchers and writers. Many still seek Atlantis, believing it holds the key to understanding the past and the future. Beyond Atlantis, there are countless other legends about lost cities and hidden treasures of knowledge. Shambhala, a legendary kingdom in Tibet, where, according to ancient tales, secret knowledge about the universe and spiritual development is kept. El Dorado, the mythical land of gold, believed to hold vast treasures and the secrets of alchemy. Agartha was a subterranean kingdom said to be inhabited by wise beings possessing ancient knowledge. Imagine a lost city, hidden deep in the jungle or beneath the sands of the desert. Imagine secret libraries filled with ancient manuscripts containing knowledge about medicine, astronomy, and magic. Imagine treasures guarded by ancient spells and traps. The myths and legends of lost knowledge are rich in symbolism and allegory. They often use images such as the lost paradise, symbolizing the loss of innocence and bliss, as well as humanity's longing for perfection. The tree of knowledge, representing knowledge that can bring both benefit and harm. The philosopher's stone, symbolizing ultimate wisdom and the ability to transform reality. Hidden treasures, representing spiritual wealth and the inner knowledge. What do these myths reflect? They reflect humanity's desire for knowledge. People have always wanted to know more about the world and themselves. Fear of the unknown. The unknown can be dangerous and frightening, but also alluring. Nostalgia for the past. People often idolize the past, believing that ancient knowledge was more perfect, belief in the supernatural. Myths and legends show that people believe in forces beyond human understanding. The myths and legends of lost knowledge live in our imagination. They make us dream, wonder, and search. They show us that knowledge is not merely information, it is a force that can change the world. Think about the possibility that every legend contains a grain of truth. Think about the idea that the knowledge we consider lost may one day reveal itself to us through new discoveries as new ideas. These legends are part of our culture, our history, and our soul. They remind us that the search for knowledge is an endless journey, one that never truly ends. And now, let these legends accompany you on your journey into the world of dreams. Chapter 8: Lost Art and Music. We have spoken of words, of languages, of manuscripts. Now let us journey into the world of images and sounds, the world of lost art and music. A world where the brushes of artists once created masterpieces and musical instruments produced melodies that could have enchanted and inspired us even today. Art and music are reflections of the human soul, of our inner world, our emotions and experiences. When a work of art or a musical composition disappears, a part of our culture, our history, and our shared experience disappears with it. Throughout the history of art, countless paintings, sculptures, and frescoes have been lost. Lost works of ancient artists. We know of great Greek and Roman artists, but their works have survived only in copies or descriptions. Lost masterpieces of the Renaissance. Many paintings by Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael have been lost or damaged over time. Artworks destroyed during wars. During wars and revolutions, many paintings and sculptures were destroyed or damaged. Imagine a painting created by a great master. Bright colors, delicate details, expressive faces, a captivating story. A painting that could strike you with its beauty and depth. A painting that could speak to you about life, love, and death. Sculpture, too, has not escaped loss. Destroyed statues of antiquity. Many statues of Greek and Roman gods and heroes have been destroyed or damaged. Lost sculptures of the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Many sculptures created in those times have been lost or ruined. Imagine a sculpture carved from marble or cast in bronze. A graceful body, an expressive face, a poised gesture. A sculpture that could convey to you the beauty of the human form and the strength of the human spirit. In music, too, there are many lost works, musical compositions of antiquity. We know of the existence of ancient Greek and Roman music, but the notes have not survived. Lost music of the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Many compositions from these eras have been lost or damaged. Music burned or destroyed during wars and revolutions. Musical works, like visual art, have suffered from the violence of history. Imagine a melody written by a great composer. A beautiful tune, harmonious chords, expressive instruments. A melody that could calm you, move you, inspire you. Why are works of art and music lost? There are many reasons. Wars, During wars and revolutions, works of art and music were often destroyed or damaged. Fires consumed buildings where art and music were kept. Natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, and other catastrophes also destroyed artistic and musical treasures. Vandalism and destruction. Sometimes works of art were deliberately destroyed. Time. Time is relentless. Many works of art and music have simply decayed or deteriorated over the centuries. How would these lost works of art and music affect our perception of the world, new emotions and impressions? Lost works might have given us new feelings and broadened our horizons, a deeper understanding of history. These works could have helped us better understand the history and culture of the past. Inspiration for creativity. Lost works might have inspired new creations of art and music. Imagine that you could hear a lost melody or see a lost painting. What would you feel? How would it change your view of the world? Lost art and music are part of our history, a part that will remain forever missing. But we can dream of these works. We can imagine their beauty and power. And may these dreams help you relax and gently fall asleep. Chapter 9: Lost Inventions and Technologies. We have spoken of books, languages, arts, and of how much has been lost. But now let us turn to another area where the losses feel especially profound. Let us talk about lost inventions and technologies. About technologies we know of from ancient sources, but which seem to have been forgotten or vanished forever. Imagine an era when people possessed a knowledge and technologies that may have even surpassed our own. Technologies that could have changed the world but disappeared like a mirage. Here are a few examples of lost inventions and technologies. Greek fire, an incendiary mixture invented by the Byzantines, which could burn even on water. Greek fire was used in warfare, and its secret recipe was carefully guarded: secret alloys. Ancient craftsmen possessed the knowledge of creating alloys that were stronger and more durable than many modern materials. One such example is Damascus steel, used to forge the famous swords, complex mechanisms. Ancient civilizations created sophisticated devices such as the Antiquity mechanism, an intricate instrument used to predict the movements of celestial bodies. Picture Greek fire, a river of flame erupting from a ship, consuming enemy vessels on the water's surface. Picture Damascus steel, a sword so sharp it could cut stone without dulling. Picture the Antiquity mechanism, an ancient computer capable of predicting the dance of the stars. These technologies were the result of remarkable engineering and scientific achievements. They required deep knowledge in chemistry, physics, and mechanics. But why were they lost? There were several reasons. Loss of secrets. The production secrets of these technologies were often passed down in a narrow circle, from master to apprentice. If the master died and the apprentice did not know every detail, the technology could be lost. Lack of funding. Creating and maintaining complex technologies required significant resources. If support ceased, the technology could fall into decline. Changing times. New technologies sometimes replaced the old, or the conditions of life and warfare changed. Political instability, wars, revolutions, and political upheavals could lead to the destruction of technologies, or the loss of the specialists who knew how to use them. Climate change and environmental factors. A worsening climate or scarcity of resources could also cause the disappearance of certain technologies. These technologies have vanished, but they left their mark on history. They remind us that human genius has no limits, and that we can achieve incredible things when we strive for knowledge and innovation. How might the world have changed if these technologies had survived? Perhaps we would have already conquered space, cured all diseases, created an ideal society. But even if these inventions were lost, they remain in our memory. They continue to inspire us, to encourage new research and new creations. Think about what might have been. Imagine cities illuminated by eternal lights, machines running without electricity, weapons that never fail. Lost inventions and technologies are a mystery waiting to be solved. They remind us that knowledge is power, and that power can change the world. And may these thoughts gently guide you into relaxation and into sleep. Chapter 10: Modern Searches and the Hope for New Discoveries. We have traveled a long path in search of lost knowledge, diving deep into the shadows of history. But our journey does not end here. Let us now turn to the present and to the future. Modern technologies and methods open new possibilities for preserving and rediscovering lost knowledge. We live in the age of digital technology. Computers, the internet, scanners, electronic libraries, all of these tools help us preserve and share knowledge. One of the most important modern technologies is the digitization of books. This is the process of converting books and manuscripts into digital format. Digitized books can be stored on computers, hard drives, servers, and most importantly, made accessible to people all over the world. Digitization offers many advantages. Preservation. Digitized books are not vulnerable to decay, fire, floods, or other disasters. Accessibility. Digitized books can easily be found and downloaded from the internet. Distribution. Digital books can be shared quickly and easily with others. Electronic libraries are being created that hold millions of digitized books. These libraries make knowledge available to anyone with internet access. Archaeological excavations are another way we continue to search for lost knowledge. Archaeologists uncover new texts and artifacts that allow us to learn more about the past. Some important discoveries include the Dead Sea Scrolls. These scrolls were discovered in caves near the Dead Sea. They contain texts of religious and historical significance. Recovered codices. New codices and fragments of ancient manuscripts are regularly discovered, helping us learn more about the lives and cultures of ancient civilizations. Modern technology allows us to analyze ancient texts and artifacts with greater accuracy and efficiency. Scanning. Scanning technology provides detailed images of texts and artifacts. Decipherment. Computer programs help decipher complex texts and writing systems. Reconstruction. Technology also enables the reconstruction of damaged texts and artifacts. Modern technology is our ally in the search for lost knowledge. It allows us to preserve, study, and understand the past. What possibilities lie ahead? New technologies. The development of new tools will expand our ability to preserve and recover lost knowledge. New discoveries. Archaeologists, linguists, historians, all may make discoveries that will change our understanding of the past. The chance to join forces. International cooperation and the uniting of efforts by scholars around the world will help us achieve even greater results. The future holds many secrets, and we can hope that we will uncover more lost knowledge, learn more about the past, and pass that knowledge on to future generations. Conclusion: the importance of preserving knowledge and passing it on. We have now reached the end of our journey through the world of lost knowledge. We have seen how many books and manuscripts disappeared in the fires of wars and disasters, were erased by censorship, or vanished simply by chance. We have learned about the tragic fate of ancient libraries, the secrets of alchemy, and the fight for freedom of speech. We touched upon vanished civilizations whose knowledge, sadly, is only partially accessible to us today. We have seen that lost knowledge is not just history. It is a reminder of how fragile knowledge is, how easily it can be lost. It reminds us that we must cherish what we have and strive to preserve knowledge for future generations. We have remembered the great libraries that once held the knowledge of the world, the Egyptian papyri, the clay tablets of Mesopotamia, the parchments of Pergamon. We have felt the spirit of the Library of Alexandria and imagined the flames consuming its priceless scrolls. We have seen how alchemists tried to unravel the secrets of nature and the human soul, hiding their wisdom in symbols and allegories. We recalled the forbidden books and the struggle for freedom of thought and speech. We have learned that many great discoveries, works of art, and literature have been lost. We have seen how books were destroyed and how people risked their lives to defend their beliefs. We touched upon civilizations whose knowledge is, unfortunately, only partially known to us today. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is the key to understanding the world. Knowledge is the foundation for the progress of society. The more we know, the more we can achieve. Knowledge helps us make wise decisions, solve problems, and build a better future. We live in an era when knowledge is more accessible than ever before. But that does not mean we can relax. We must protect knowledge, pass it on to future generations, and teach people to value education and the pursuit of understanding. We, who live today, are the keepers of knowledge. We carry the responsibility to preserve and share it. We must use every opportunity our modern world offers to safeguard and expand knowledge. Seek knowledge. Be curious. Ask questions. Read books. Visit libraries. Study history. Remember, every piece of knowledge is a step toward a better world. The future depends on us, on how we treat knowledge, on how we use it. Let us preserve what we have and create new, richer, and more diverse knowledge for the generations to come. And now, allow yourself to relax even more. Let go of all thoughts of the day. Feel your body growing heavier and more relaxed. Drift gently into sleep. May you dream beautiful dreams, full of adventures and new discoveries. Good night, sweet dreams. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the Academy of Sleep to continue this journey into the world of knowledge and mysteries. Your subscription helps us create more calming lectures and preserve the magic of forgotten stories. Until next time.